It's time for the Nebraska Baseball Coaches Show.
Swanson swings and drives a fly ball. Deep right field. The right fielder giving it a look. It is a grand slam for 44. Swanson deposits one into the right field bullpen. And Nebraska dents the board in a big way here in the first. 4-0 Cornhuskers.
Brought to you by Midwest Ford.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. And that will do it. Nebraska convincingly evens up the series with a 14-4 victory over the Wildcats.
Millen set. Here's the pitch. There goes Bullen. Pitches outside. The throw comes all the way down to second. The second baseman, Hand, can't handle it. Swanson's going to score. Hand dropped the baseball right near the bag. Swanson takes off, and the Huskers get their fourth run. Broderick's 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Jeske picks it up with the bare hand, fires to first. No problem for Sanderson. Broderick nails down the save. And the Huskers sweep the doubleheader and win the series over Northwestern, winning the nightcap by the final score of 5-2.
Now with Will Bolt, here's your host, Nick Hanley.
And good evening and welcome to another Will Bolt, Nebraska Baseball Coaches Show here on Sports Nightly, hour number 1. Nick Hanley in studio with you with the head coach, Will Bolt. Contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free, it's easy, it's the law. Nebraska 811. As we welcome the coach, first of all, having the Saturday doubleheader, which goes your way, you get 2 days off. You get Sunday, well, you're working tonight a little bit, which we appreciate, but Sunday get Easter off too, so that kind of worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you don't like playing home doubleheaders very often because it's hard to sweep a doubleheader, but it did work out great. The weather just looked bad on Sunday pretty much the whole week, and we waited it out till Friday, and yeah, it works out good when you get a chance to play well on a Saturday and get to spend some family time on Easter Sunday. And I know our players were happy to do that. And we did have a practice today, but very light day today. And it actually works out great that way that we get together the day before we play a really good Kansas team.
Yeah, KU tomorrow, and then it's on the road, and then a couple back-to-back home weekends, which we'll get into here in a bit. Wanted to go back, though, to how the week started. And that Creighton matchup has not always gone our way. And we've seen the way that those games have played out where Nebraska will have the lead, and then maybe it's, the 7th, 8th. I remember the game last year in Lincoln where it looked like you guys are in cruise control, and then all of a sudden just, Creighton's able to fight back. And this one, it got off to an interesting start. Creighton is able to jump on the board early on, but there's just it seems like, and this is kind of a trend with this team right now too, a lot of resiliency. And then the freshman arms, but just the bullpen in general on Tuesday was outstanding. One of the best performances collectively that I think we've seen in a while.
Yeah, that was a great win for us. Like you said, the game started very similarly to a lot of our games where we play Creighton there in that ballpark where we kind of go down, 1, 2, 3 in the first and not much going on. And then they start off with a leadoff double and, it's 2-0 just like that. And, but like you said, the bullpen was the difference in this game. I mean, we really shut them down. I mean, the next 8 innings, 1 run. And honestly, much similar for a lot of the game that we played them at home, where we shut them down for 4, 5, 6 innings in a row. Obviously got away from us late. But, yeah, it was a good win and just another good sign from the offense that we felt like we dominated the game, honestly, in every area. Pitching, defense, the timely hitting wasn't quite there for us entirely, but we had enough, and I think we had double-digit hits and ended up scoring 6 runs or so. So a little different than how those games have typically played out in that ballpark where the timely hit meant that we really didn't probably score much at all. So team's starting to slug. I mean, we're hitting some homers and doubles and collecting some extra base hits, and you don't have to rely on the 2-run single as much when you're driving the ball a little bit.
And you bring up just throughout that game against Creighton that it was maybe not as many timely hits as you had the opportunities for, but this goes back even a couple of weeks when we really saw the offense really elevate. Even some of those outs, there's a lot of contact. There's some hard hit balls. And I know last week you were talking about those committed swings, but whether we're talking about Max Butenbach or anybody in the lineup, Joshua Overbeek, who continues to swing it really well.
Yeah.
Is that for you when you're not getting the result, but you're seeing those numbers, you're seeing how hard the ball's coming off the bat? Is that something that you have to remind those guys about, or with enough veterans, do they kind of understand, they're feeling that contact and they understand that it's going to work out their way here in a moment?
Yeah, I think you do. You do remind them of it. I mean, we did that actually after Friday's game. I mean, we scored 7 runs and we had 15 balls that we hit over 95 miles an hour. Now, the timely hit was a little elusive on Friday as well, to a certain degree, but we also hit, I think, 5 balls, 95 plus in runners in scoring position situations with nothing to show for it. So, honestly, you can't control what happens when the ball leaves your bat. I mean, that's really the fact. So if you're taking committed swings, that's good offense, because it means you have a plan, you have an approach, and when you walk to the plate with a committed plan and approach, then you swing with confidence. So as an offense, that's really all you're looking for is that confidence in the box, really being in control up there and not letting the pitcher kind of dictate what happens in your at-bat. And that goes back to your routine in between pitches. You're getting your breath. The breath tells you that you're here, that it gets you present. And so, yeah, those things are really things to build on, even on days where you don't score a lot of runs, because you can always go back to, did I swing at a good pitch and did I hit it hard? Right. And if you can do those two things as a hitter and as an offense, you have a chance to score. Baseball's difficult, so that doesn't always happen, but you have those things you can fall back on.
Friday, you made reference to with what was going on in that one with the contact on your end, but also with Northwestern, that wind blown out to right field. It knew that it could have its moments where it was advantageous on the mound, but more importantly, it's going to be in the box, especially on left-handed hitters, or if you're able to go that way. Yeah. Very uncommon to see that type of contact on Will Walsh so early, but again, with the wind doing what it was doing, I know you guys haven't lost any confidence in him, but that game, to see 5 home runs on their end before you even get to the 5th inning yet, you guys are able to tie that one up late in the game. And then I want to know your thoughts also on Markinson's 2 RBI single. Yeah. When we saw where that pitch was located, how he even got contact on that alone, but just that game overall, a lot of ups and downs, riding the roller coaster of emotions, but just how did you assess that entire game?
Yeah, very frustrated after that one because felt like we scored, I believe, in the first 5 innings, and then we allowed them to score in each of those innings preceding us scoring. And we never could keep the momentum in our dugout because we couldn't get a shutdown inning on the mound. And, you could tell they really had a plan in the box on Will. Looked like they were just hunting elevation. So any pitch that was elevated, they were swinging at it. And, they connected on some pitches early in counts. Will didn't have any, he just really didn't have much going. The command was not there. He just couldn't put the ball where he wanted to put it, and he left a lot of balls up. Will has been one of our best ground ball pitchers this year. So uncharacteristic for what he's shown this year. That happens from time to time. Problem was when we did stabilize the game in the middle innings, we didn't score. And first and second, nobody out in the 7th inning with our 3, 4, 5 hole hitters coming up, and we don't get a ball in the infield. The moment was there to go, not just win the game, but run away in that game there, because we had a chance for a big inning. And it was frustrating because we didn't execute the offense. We didn't put the ball in play with 2 strikes. It wasn't a big strikeout day for us. And then for them, as you mentioned, Markinson's swing, talk about committed swings, that there's commitment to a 2-strike swing as well. And that's what he did. It was a pitch that if it was bounced, it was probably going to be strike 3. I think everybody in the ballpark felt that was going to happen, including our dugout. So, yeah, it was difficult way to end that one, in a very frustrating game, and that we feel like we could have, won it because we just never really seized all the momentum in the game that we could have.
And then so take me to the conversation after the game with the team, because then when there's a doubleheader and it's already planned that's going to be the weekend situation, so much more emphasis on that Friday night game. And like all the reasons you lay out right there's just so many moments to not only, even that thing up like you did, but you really take a hold of it. Doesn't happen. What's that message? And then what was the response just going into BP on Saturday, getting ready for that doubleheader? Yeah,
the message was just that we got out-toughed. We got out-competed. And again, not to say that our guys didn't want to win, but that we weren't there to win the game. But when the moments came for winning baseball, Northwestern was on the right side of that, and we weren't. And that was the frustrating part. And the thing that I have seen here of late is when our team gets challenged, we've kind of responded well. Maybe early in the year there were times where veteran team, we challenged them, and it didn't really go the way that we wanted to go after that. But, I think we've got a more confident group now in terms of the offense, and they feel like they're resilient and that they can come back and keep doing their thing. And I challenged the offense, big time on Saturday morning. I said, look, there's no excuse that we let that one slip away. That's completely on us. I don't care if we give up 9 runs on a Friday. Wind's blowing out. We had every opportunity to win that game, and we did a lot of things great. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't win, and we should have won the game. And the response was awesome. And in doubleheaders, a lot of times you can grab that momentum early in that first game, and that can carry over to the second game. We've seen that on the other side of it. Unfortunately this year, but the 5 spot in the first inning obviously was huge. Probably even huger than that was the fact that Horn went out and had a clean first inning, 3 up, 3 down, looked sharp, and then gave our offense a chance to go to work right away. Yeah,
that's exactly where I wanted to go next. We've talked about it, you and I, many times about Ty just getting that first inning under 20 pitches, and if it's the first inning, that's been okay.
Right.
It's the second inning that'll be a little lengthy, but innings 1 and 2, he's under 40 pitches right there. And I thought that you talked about the plan that they had Friday night and really going after elevation. It seemed like early on he was using the changeup really effectively. And then later in that start, you saw a lot more of the fastball, which it just seemed like what he was set out to do. He was able not only to locate, but he was getting, as you always talk about, strike one on that first pitch. So just a lot of good things from Ty.
Yeah, and as a whole, over the course of the week, obviously, Friday night notwithstanding, the strike one percentage and the 1-1 wins as a pitching staff, much improved. And lo and behold, you get 3 in 1 week. And you start to get on the right side of some things there with the pitching staff. But yeah, Ty was he was very determined, kind of had a different way about him going into that game on Saturday, and just really made an emphasis going into the start, like, hey, you've got to be better in the first inning. You've got to be more ready to go be at your best at the start of the game, because you're facing the top of the order. That's when hitters are most locked in as their first at-bat of the day. Like, you have got to be, your awareness has got to be magnified there in that first inning. We've got to be better. So tweaked a couple things, I think, with Coach Childers, just with his pregame mentality and routine. And went out and showed up in a big way. And the slider was also a big pitch for him. Threw more sliders than curveballs. The change was working. They had some the left-handed hitters that did some damage. He got some early contact and early weak outs on the slider and change, which was big. And like you said, because of that, the fastball, all of a sudden, it's a firm fastball. His average fastball velocity is almost 93 miles an hour. Yeah. But kind of switched some things up that way, and he really set the tone, minimizing some damage when some things did go back sideways, and got us through 5 innings.
We talked about Friday, what Markinson did with the 2 strikes there too. And I don't know what the final number turned out to be, but you mentioned that 5 spot in game 1 of that doubleheader. Out of the first 4 hits, one of them being a grand slam, 3 of those I know were with 2 strikes. And then I think at one point it was 4 of the 5 hits that you had between the first inning and the second inning were with 2 strikes. So I've asked you many times about what has changed or what has been the approach in the box. With 2 strikes now, what did you see, especially this weekend and in that game too, where guys seemingly were very effective even with 2 strikes?
Yeah, and Brumball kind of got a spark there with the 2 strike. Yeah. Again, there wasn't anything cool about it. It was just a chopper that he put in play with 2 strikes and put pressure on the defense and got the line moving that way. And Swanson was down 0-2 and just kind of shortened the swing up with 2 strikes. So yeah, just having a more committed approach with 2 strikes. Being more confident in the box too, and more on time early in the count always helps you with 2 strikes as well. And when you're not going well offensively, it's hard to hit well with 2 strikes because, number one, it seems like you hit with 2 strikes all the time. Yeah. And if you're not going good, that means you're not on time. And if you're not on time at the front of the count, your timing when you get to 2 strikes, you're full of anxiety at times. So having the confidence in the box that you're going to be on time early in the count, allows you to hit with more confidence with 2 strikes, and that's kind of what we've seen.
I know you have a lot of respect for that program, especially with their head coach now, too. Just now seeing them in 3 games, seeing a little bit of what they've done this year, too. What was your overall assessment of Northwestern?
Well, we knew they could really hit coming in.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. And both of their first 2 starters had ERAs under, about 4.5 going into the game. And, so they've done a lot of things. They've improved in a lot of ways from a depth perspective. I mean, their Friday starters of Vanderbilt commit, transfer. And the guy that closed the game out was a Wake Forest transfer. Yeah. And so, and a lot of the same usual suspects that even though we swept them at their place last year, it was a dogfight because Michael Fatrick and Freeman and Leolio, all those guys raked against us last year. So they've done a really good job. Coach Greenspan is an offensive mind. I really respect the job that he does. He does an amazing job. He's recruited very well. And they've really, honestly, where they've really made a big changes in defense and their defense. They were filled on, I believe, 983 coming into the weekend,
yeah.
and that's not typically what you've seen from some of those teams there, where it can get a little sloppy defensively. He's got them playing pretty well.
Going to continue our conversation here this hour with head coach Will Bolt, but also want to get you in on the conversation. Our Nebraska Lottery baseball trivia question. If you can answer this, you have the answer. Make sure you have the number down, 402-413-2400. You can text that, and if you get the answer, you will receive $100 in Nebraska Lottery scratch tickets. The question is, and this is in honor of the NFL draft this week. We're going to go, though, Major League Baseball draft. Name the most recent Nebraska baseball player to be drafted in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft. If you have that answer, again, text at 402-413-2400. That is our Nebraska Lottery trivia question. We have more with the coach after this here on the Will Bolt Coaches Show.
This season, give your soybeans the upgraded protection they deserve. With CVA Elite Fungicide Insecticide Seed Treatment plus Saltro, you'll get stronger above and below ground vigor and enhanced SDS protection, helping you maximize ROI. Talk to your Central Valley Ag Field Sales Agronomist or visit CVACoop.com today. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing plus 2.9% financing plus $2,000 cash on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers. Driven by value.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new great trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Falls City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Hi, I'm Tom Osborne, former football coach and co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program.
And I'm Des Moines Adams, Husker Black Shirt and CEO of Teammates Mentoring.
We're recruiting Teammates mentors and need caring adults to be in the lives of our students.
Meeting with a student once a week at the school can make a positive impact in their life and have a ripple effect in our communities.
Please join our team.
Go to teammates.org today.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the 9th inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Getting ready to take on spring? Make your first move with the reliable performance and power of Steel battery tools. From hedge trimmers and mowers to string trimmers and more, save on select Steel battery tools. Right now, save $50 on the FSA 57 battery trimmer set. Real STIHL. Find yours at stihldealers.com. With AK10 battery and AL101 charger. Offer valid for a limited time only while supplies last. See participating dealer for details.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
This season, give your soybeans the upgraded protection they deserve. With CVA Elite Fungicide Insecticide Seed Treatment plus Saltro, you'll get stronger above and below ground vigor and enhanced SDS protection, helping you maximize ROI. Talk to your Central Valley Ag Field Sales Agronomist or visit cvacoop.com today. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Fall City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Dorothy Lynch, homestyle and light and lean dressing, endless flavorabilities. As we continue here on the Will Bolt Nebraska Baseball Coaches Show, want to congratulate Sam in Omaha. He got our Nebraska Lottery baseball trivia question. As we saw, many of you did have the right answer. It was all about quickest on the draw, and that was the question, was name the most recent Nebraska baseball player to be drafted in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft. You didn't have to go back very far. 2023, Bryce Matthews was the answer. So Sam gets himself $100 in Nebraska Lottery scratch tickets. I told you before, I said this one was a layup. I knew you'd have no problem answering that one.
Yeah, not just a couple years ago. So Bryce has made his way all the way to AAA, and look forward to seeing his debut here soon.
So solid week, 3-1, as you pointed out. Especially getting that win over Creighton, but also, more importantly, getting another series in the Big Ten. Big one this weekend in College Park. But before you get to that, another meeting with the Jayhawks. They come to Lincoln tomorrow, and going to see a new starter tomorrow in Tucker Timmerman.
Yeah, obviously, Kansas is coming off of a weekend where they swept their rivals, Kansas State, all 3 games, and playing great. I mean, they're playing to be a regional host, it looks like, and to win the Big 12. I mean, they're at the very top of that league and playing great. And, Timmerman will get the ball, and you'll just let him go a little bit because we obviously need him on the weekend out of the bullpen, but feel like he's he's excited to take the ball and just open the game for us and see how far he can go. Probably going to be somewhat limited, just like I said, so we can get him back early on in the weekend. But looking for him to get us off to a good start. And I know he's got the mentality that it's going to take to go be on attack from the get-go.
We've talked about just him coming back probably the last few times that we've been on this show. You weren't worried about anything mentally at all. Physically, though, I think that's where everybody wanted to see just having that time off, even though his arm didn't really lose a lot of conditioning. Has there been any slow go on any area? Because he looks, I mean, from the naked eye, he looks pretty much in control and kind of where he was when he left off.
Yeah, no concerns whatsoever, except when he had the stomach flu last week.
Yeah.
But, no lingering effects from that on his outing on Saturday. And been very sharp. I mean, fastball's moving all over the place, changeup's falling off the table, slider looks good. It's a pretty uncomfortable at bat for the guys in the box, both lefties and righties. So he's been great, and you don't put too much on one player. And we talked a little bit about this last week, but you look up and he threw the Sunday game against Iowa. We've won 4 of 5 since Tucker's kind of reintroduced himself back to the team in terms of being able to help us. And it's a mindset and attitude that he brings to the yard, too. And it's rubbed off on guys. And you see some of these freshman pitchers throw with more confidence. Even some of the other veteran pitchers throw with more confidence. And it's that stuff's contagious. Those mindsets are contagious. And, it's been fun to watch him come back because we knew how much he meant to the team, and him being out for 6 weeks. It's a lot of innings we had to cover for him. So excited to see what he can do in a starter spot tomorrow.
We talked a little bit about, even between that Creighton game and then just over the weekend, especially on Saturday, some of those younger arms that you continue to see get that experience, now figuring out what college baseball is all about. We've seen Price in some good spots. We've seen Gavin in some good spots as well. What have you seen from just that group, that freshman group, the ones that have logged the most innings, and where that trajectory has been for them?
Yeah, and confidence just goes such a long way with how your stuff plays. And we've seen some of those guys come out the chutes really well and then hit some spots where they ran out of confidence a little bit or ran low on confidence, you can say. And the stuff always kind of ticks down with it. And Bender, you mentioned him. I mean, he's a guy we were really counting on going into the season. Got some good outings for us early, and hit a little bit of a freshman skid. But he's competitive, and you've seen the stuff tick up a little bit more for him too. And we're using him in a little bit different light than we did early as well. More of just kind of a situational type guy before, because he can throw with that low 3/4 sidearm slot, but he also has good stuff when he's kind of more of that true low 3/4 slot, or even 3/4 slot, where he can get a little more run on the fastball, and the fastball can be up to 92 from that spot. And the breaking stuff, he can land for strikes as well. So Gavin's got, like you said, he's had some good outings. Colin Novacek's had some good outings. So there's been some guys in there that have produced, and you never know when your name's going to be called. So key, like we always say, strike one is the best pitch in baseball.
Yeah. I want to, before we move on to Maryland as well, and I should have mentioned this and asked you about this back in the first segment, talking about the Northwestern game. And, speaking of another guy that's been very important in the bullpen, and Caleb Clark, and I know he wasn't with the team in Iowa, also working through some back stuff, but good to see him back out there. But really good to see Dave Clark out there and throwing out that first pitch. I know that had a lot of good feels going on throughout the stadium.
Yeah, and we were laughing about it today. He got the strike pumper moniker from Coach Childress after that, so now he's referring to himself as Mr. Strike Pumper. And he threw a strike. He was out there and kind of the showman. He tipped his cap to the crowd and got a handshake with Coach Greenspan over there. And no, it was awesome. I mean, Caleb surprised his dad early on in January, right at the end of his treatments. He didn't know he was coming back, and that was a special moment for him. And got a chance to talk to his family while he was back, and they were very thankful for that moment. So, yeah, pretty cool to be part of that, and for Caleb to go back there and catch the first pitch is, I know, an emotional time for him, and got a big out in the ninth inning. Obviously, we ended up having to go to Broderick there, but got their big hitter to start that inning, and look forward to getting Caleb back and getting him healthy.
We're going to talk more about the upcoming Big Ten series this weekend, too, in College Park, Maryland, with head coach Will Bolt here in just a moment. Hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee, where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. We have more with head coach Will Bolt after this here on Sports Nightly.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing plus 2.9% financing plus $2,000 cash on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers. Driven by value.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid mineral with protein or Sweet Pro block supplements for space feeding, while also stretching your forages up to 25% better, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blauhorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
You're gonna feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't miss out on a complete day of activities for the entire family at the 2025 Husker Games presented by FNBO on Saturday, April 26th. The Husker Games will include football activities in Memorial Stadium, a soccer matchup with Wyoming at Hibner Stadium, and spring volleyball match against Kansas at the Devaney Center. You can also participate in a tour of the Osborne Legacy Complex, the Husker Equipment Sale, and a food truck festival. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/tickets. See you on April 26th.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
At Woodhouse Honda, we know purchasing a car is a big decision, and we're here to make it simple. Take advantage of special financing and exclusive offers happening now. Lease the 2025 Honda HR-V all-wheel drive LX for $375 a month for 36 months and 10,000 miles per year. Shop in-store off Highway 281 in Grand Island or online at woodhousehonda.com. With approved credit, $1,350 due at signing, plus first payment and $299 doc fee. Stock GH 250134. Offer expires 4/30/2025. See dealer for details.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid mineral with protein or Sweet Pro block supplements for space feeding, while also stretching your forages up to 25% better, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blauhorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir. Toyota trucks. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Nick Hanley here with head coach Will Bolt on the Will Bolt Nebraska Baseball Coaches Show here on a Monday, getting ready for home game tomorrow, and then it's off to College Park, Maryland, before we have a couple of home weekends before wrapping things up out in West Lafayette. It's crazy you can kind of see the end of it right now, too. I know you're not thinking about that, but College Park, Maryland, we were just talking about this during the break, too. It's a hitter-friendly ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to ask you about them, as we've seen certain teams in the Big Ten, and not just including Nebraska, where these are teams that we're traditionally used to seeing in the top half of the Big Ten standings right now. Maryland's been fighting it a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very competitive league, and it always has been, but even more so now. Adding the West Coast schools into the league, and just how some schools are just making more of a commitment, to baseball, and again, the access to the portal allows everybody to have good players. So that's a big difference between when we first joined the league. Back in 2011, a lot more commitment to baseball in the conference. The portal, NIL, has changed everything. And so, yeah, I mean, they're a good team. They have a lot of really good players. They've just been on the wrong side of some games, kind of like we have at times. And, this is going to be a big weekend, in terms of, trying to move up the standings and start winning some series here at the end of the season to make a move.
When you talk about that ballpark and Turtle Park and the dimensions, what you and I were discussing during the break of it being a hitter-friendly ballpark, but also sometimes if the weather is helping, it's going to even blow out even more than what the dimensions already are. You got an experienced staff. Is it more of the younger arms that you have to emphasize that command, the spots, and how to basically be a successful pitcher in that ballpark?
Yeah, I just think it's a well-executed pitch is a well-executed pitch. Yeah. So you can't really get too much into if the wind's blowing in or out somewhere or what the dimensions are. You keep the ball off the barrel and on the ground, good things happen. Swing and miss is always nice as well. So, yeah, you don't change your mentality. I mean, your mentality's got to be solo home runs aren't going to beat you. I mean, that's a pretty good mentality to have. So just be on attack. Don't set up innings with free passes, because the three-run homers are the ones that are tough to come back from.
Wanted to ask you, and I know the weekend rotation isn't 100%, well, at least not out there yet, but I don't anticipate any major changes. But Jackson with a nice Game 3 start as well. As we were talking a lot about Ty Horn, need to mention Jackson's performance too. Got some innings out of him.
Yeah, and got both those guys through 5 innings and got some wins in the win column. And yeah, I mean, he was able to get through 5 innings and 68 pitches.
Yeah.
Getting ready to turn the lineup over again, and felt like it was time to make a move to the pen. And because of where Ty had left, and obviously we scored, so we only played 7 innings the first game. So the pen was, we had quite a few bullets left out there. So, but yeah, Jackson, the average fastball that he had was close to 90 miles an hour on Saturday. So almost a full 1.5 up from kind of where he's been. And since the early part of the season, I may have alluded to it last week as well, just see Jackson as the weather gets a little warmer. Stuff tends to play up a little bit for him, and he was very competitive. I mean, the leadoff double, I believe, in the second inning didn't allow him to score, and a lot more swing and miss on the fastball. Again, we're talking about an offense that came in feeling really, really good. And so, yeah, it was a very good outing for him there. And there weren't any free passes in there. That was a big part of it. The wind had shifted by that second game and kind of played itself into being a low-scoring game. So no free passes and getting some swing and miss on the fastball, and then enough on the fastball to where if they did hit it, they were kind of underneath it and not on it on the barrel.
I know you were asked this, I think, after the game on either Friday or Saturday by some of the media on that whole staff approach, which we'll see tomorrow for the most part as well, in the midweeks a little bit here. How have you seen how the numbers line up with that, and if that's something, depending on the situation, if you ever have to get into, say you don't get the type of start you want out of one of the guys on the weekend, feeling good, though, that you have pretty good plan where a lot of those guys are understanding that role and coming in when they need to. Yeah, and I think it's easier said than done. I mean, guys have to really dial it in when it comes to, okay, like you could pitch the third inning, but I also think it gives them confidence knowing, like, hey, we really only need 3 outs from you here. Yeah. Like, we don't need you to do much more than that. Hopefully we're not going to ask you to come in with a lot of traffic on the bases. It's like, your inning's your inning, go navigate it, go get us 3 outs. And I think it's kind of taking some pressure off some guys that way. But you kind of try to map it out the best you can, best laid plans, right? I mean, you just never know how it's going to go, but you got to kind of figure out, like, okay, these 4 guys we need to get 5 innings out of. Yeah. And then if hopefully you can get it to your guys that have typically been your higher leverage guys, your Casey Dice, who we haven't even mentioned tonight, and how he's really emerged in a big way. Your Christos, obviously Timmerman's going to start tomorrow, but having those guys kind of set up in the back of the game, Broderick, to where you can use those guys to go finish. And when you're going to the bullpen early, way earlier than you'd like, and you don't have that mapped out, it becomes a lot more difficult. Before we take our last break, and some of the guys that we've been mentioning, and you and I were talking about him earlier, Robbie Bolin, seeing him in the lineup a lot. And I remember when we sat down with you guys at the beginning of the season, you and Rob, we were talking about that lineup. Your eyes lit up about Robbie Bolin, just trying to find him some opportunities to get some starts. And you look at him during BP, when we've had a chance to see him, one of the strongest looking guys out there, but just seems like the way I best describe him on the broadcast is just a athlete first and foremost, well put together, very strong kid. You were telling me about his speed as well, which we know he's a darn good base runner as well. Yeah. Seeing him be a little bit more of a mainstay in the lineup here as of late. Yeah, and he provides a spark. He needs to be a high on base guy. He's not necessarily going to hit for a lot of power. Some gap to gap power there, and we saw the speed at the Creighton game where basically a ball in the 4-hole that he hit hard that moved the right fielder kind of towards the line a little bit, and he gets a double out of it. I mean, that's the type of athlete he is, and starting to hit the ball harder and harder. I'm starting to kind of figure out, his approach and what it needs to be, and his I think he's in the right spot physically with his mechanics now too, and he was kind of fighting some of that early in the season. So just getting acclimated to play at this level, and he provides just some emotional spark to the team. He's very competitive, plays with some fire, and that's what we like to see, and very valuable. He's been valuable the whole year. We played him on defense late in games to protect leads because he can go, you basically have 2 true center fielders out there with him and Riley. So both those guys very valuable to the team, both teammates at Barton County Community College together, and Robbie's provided a spark here the last 3 or 4 games. We're going to come back and wrap things up with head coach Will Bolt. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We'll wrap things up here on the Will Bolt Nebraska Baseball Coaches Show after this.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the 9th inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball, presented by Nebraska DHHS.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
Getting ready to take on spring? Make your first move with the reliable performance and power of Steel battery tools. From hedge trimmers and mowers to string trimmers and more, save on select Steel battery tools. Right now, save $50 on the FSA 57 battery trimmer set. Real Steel. Find yours at steeldealers.com. With AK-10 battery and AL101 charger. Offer valid for a limited time only while supplies last. See participating dealer for details.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. A few more minutes here with head coach Will Bolt on the Will Bolt Coaches Show, and wanted to go to a text. This was from Jeff in Omaha earlier. Wanted to essentially know the status of what the 2026 outlook would look like for Mason McConaughey, if he's returning, any kind of ideas on any of that, just what his overall status would be.
Yeah, I mean, he would be able to get a medical red shirt this year based on, when he got hurt. There's a threshold there for pitchers that he didn't even really come close to reaching just because of when it was. So he would be eligible. Obviously, he would come back as a senior if not. But I think more importantly is he would have an extra year of draft leverage. If he did choose to come back next year, he probably will have a decision to make at the end of this year, even despite being injured, as far as the draft goes and some of those things. But he would be ready theoretically in March, probably full strength, maybe earlier than that, maybe right at the beginning of the season, but it's usually a 12-month recovery. And so, yeah, obviously would love to have him back next year. We've got an exemption for him to travel with us right now because we just feel like he's that important to the staff and to the team, honestly, and he really is thankful to be able to be part of that and do that as well. So that's kind of the 12-month recovery. Yeah. We'll see where the draft takes us, and kind of where all that's going to happen in the summer.
Health-wise, always a question. I know there was the stomach bug last weekend. Everybody through that as far as we know right now?
Yeah, unless I get a text, late at night like I did last Monday. But, yeah, knock on wood, Connor Barons was the last one to have it. And so the guys are feeling good. And like I said, we had a practice today, which you don't normally get on Monday. Bouncing back well. 3-1 weeks, guys typically feel pretty good.
Yeah.
So, looking forward to carrying some momentum into tomorrow's game.
Tomorrow's game, the familiarity you had with Kansas just 2 weeks ago, and then obviously you guys have played in that ballpark, probably somewhat familiar with a little bit of what Maryland has. I know it's, for the most part, a pretty new team from the last time you guys played them, though. But just overall, tomorrow, your thoughts starting the week, I guess, getting into the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the momentum in baseball is as good as your next day starting pitcher. So obviously we feel really confident with Tucker on the mound to start that game. Kansas is rolling. They've got a really good offense, very well coached. They'll be ready to come back and try to get a win against us when we won in their place a couple weeks ago, like you said. So, and then Maryland, yeah, I mean, it's a offensive ballpark. I mean, you never know what you're going to get there. So, feel really, really confident about where we're at offensively. How consistent we've been, honestly, for the last 20 games. As good a stretch as we probably had at Nebraska, honestly. And so feel really good about that. And just some guys taking some confidence from the weekend, into the bullpen and into the starting spots for this conference weekend.
It was interesting, and I know you talked about it, what the challenge you set for those guys Friday night after that lost to Northwestern, seeing the way that it just didn't seem like this was a group that lost a heartbreaker the next day. I mean, their focus, their energy, I mean, they're still bouncing around. I mean, that was a good sign on Saturday morning.
Yeah, you just can't. Baseball doesn't lend itself to care about your feelings, and so you start getting in your feelings, you get beat. And so we've got to remind them of that, and it's the thing coaches have to do too. We got to remember that too. So, it was. You don't. It's not a guarantee that you're going to play well when you have that mindset, but if you don't have that mindset, you're guaranteed that you won't.
Yeah. Well, Coach, always appreciate your time. Wish you the best. Tomorrow, we'll see you out there at the ballpark tomorrow, and then, of course, we'll be traveling this week. But always enjoy our time together, and go get them tomorrow.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Head Coach Will Bolt on the Will Bolt Nebraska Baseball Coaches Show. We got hour number 2 of Sports Nightly coming up next. Jessica Coody back in. I'll be sticking around here for a little bit as well as we continue here. Don't go anywhere. It's Sports Nightly.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing plus 2.9% financing plus $2,000 cash on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers. Driven by value.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or get us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Good evening, I'm Camden Cohn, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Earlier today, former Husker center Cam Jurgens received a new contract with the Eagles. The 4-year, $68 million extension keeps Jurgens with the Eagles through 2029. In other news involving former Huskers, Spencer Schwellenbach is pitching tonight against the St. Louis Cardinals. Currently, the Cardinals and the Braves are tied at 2 in the bottom of the third. Schwellenbach is through 3 innings. He's allowed 5 hits and 2 runs, but only 1 was earned. He's also struck out 3. Some other MLB scores of note include the Red Sox getting a 4-2 win over the White Sox. The Guardians lead the Yankees 6-0 in the 6th. The Marlins lead the Reds 3-0 in the 5th. The Tigers hold a 6-2 lead over the Padres in the 4th. The Mets lead the Phillies 2-0 in the 3rd. And later tonight, the Astros host the Blue Jays and the Giants host the Brewers. And finally, the NBA playoffs are well underway. There are 2 games of note tonight. The Pistons lead the Knicks 23-18 at the end of the first quarter. The Knicks lead the series 1-0. And later tonight at 9, the Nuggets host the Clippers. The Nuggets lead that series 1-0. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout if you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Husker runners get their leads from all 3 bases. And the 0-2. Swanson swings and drives a fly ball. Deep right field. The right fielder giving it a look. It is a grand slam for 44. Swanson deposits one into the right field bullpen. And Nebraska dents the board in a big way here in the first. 4-0 Cornhuskers.
Williams at third, Bredwell at first. No outs, the 2-1 squeezed on, but offered and missed. The steal by Bredwell, and now Williams comes in and steals home. Williams steals home 5-1 Nebraska.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly. Happy Monday to you. Appreciate Coach Bolt. Nick, also great to have you here in studio. And how about, before we get too far away from it, Camden Cohn going to be serving as the voice of Husker softball this weekend, filling in for Nate Rohr because, you know, Nate's got other duties with Husker football. He's got to be on the mic. And so Camden going to be able to call a big series this weekend.
It's not like he's going to Jersey either. He's going to Seattle. I mean, that's kind of a nice place to go watch any sport. I don't care, but hopefully it's not too rainy for Camden over there. But yeah, that's a good little. Is this the debut? Do we know? Is this the debut for softball?
No, he actually called last year during the spring game as well.
Okay,
so
all right.
when
So
there
he's
was
familiar.
a conflict. So
Okay.
yeah, he's going to be
Nice.
well prepared and ready to go. But
I mean, he nailed that ticker.
I know. So tune in to
that was
Camden
good.
this weekend as he calls Husker softball. Hey, I had a fun weekend out at the ballpark. It was, I got to give a shout out to the folks on the berm and all the dogs out there. What a fun atmosphere.
What
and
kind of dog do you
doubleheader.
have, by the way?
A cockapoo.
Okay.
Yes.
I saw a lot of doodles. Now, we have a golden doodle. It's like 75 pounds, but I feel like, am I correct, or is that just what my eyes were telling me? I felt like I saw a lot of golden doodles out.
There's a
out
lot
of
of doodles, yeah.
Okay.
I feel
That's a
like
popular dog.
Yeah, it's pretty popular right now.
Okay. But they're all minding their business.
Yes,
Nobody
it was awesome out
Good,
there. It was
good.
fun, a pretty day, and then
Did you get the scarf for the dog?
I actually didn't get one, but those were cute. So seemed like a lot of people were having a lot of fun out there. A couple people, I told you guys to give them a shout out. Had you guys on out in the berm, I could hear y'all out there on some speakers out there.
I think the text was if Ben and I would just have more fun on the broadcast or something.
Oh yeah, well, because y'all were laughing about something. I'm like, you guys need to have a little bit more fun. No, it was a great weekend, and then Husker softball. Shout out to Husker Nation again, breaking the record. I went out on Friday night with my parents, and it was not the most ideal weather day.
No.
But still, the crowd was great. And then on Saturday, they ended up breaking the attendance record. And I know Coach Ravel had said how appreciative she was. But they bounced back in a big way, getting the win. But again, that crowd, they're going to have to continue to add seating out there, I think.
Yeah, and I think this goes beyond even when Jordy Ball's time at Nebraska is over with, that they just have that type of following. And I think she's she's built that extra excitement for them. But I thought it was just cool, especially to have that type of attendance when you're dueling with baseball too. So you have options whether to go to Haymarket Park or Bullen Stadium, that you're still getting that type of crowd. So that tells you all you need to know about everyone getting behind this softball team and seeing the good things they're doing.
Before we get too far away from baseball, there was a question on the chat or on the text line that I don't think you got to in that first hour. But how is the Big Ten tourney going to run? Just top 8 teams yet, or have they added more spots in the conference tournament? That's from Doug in Norfolk, if you want to answer that one.
Yeah, they're doing 12 teams. It's going to be 4-4-team pod play, and then whoever comes out of their own pod will be your semifinalists, and then we'll winners of those will obviously go to the championship game. So it'll start a day earlier. It'll start on a Tuesday as opposed to the traditional Wednesday. But yeah, it is now expanded to 12 out of the 7 teams. So 5 teams will obviously be left out. But yeah, it'll be 4-4-team pods is how they'll play it. And
just at this point, I guess, how are you feeling about Husker baseball making the Big Ten tournament? What's looking like what they need to do?
They are right there at that 12. Mm-hmm. They're in a 3-way tie. They would, if it ended today, they would at least have the tiebreaker over Northwestern, and they still have to play Minnesota. Those are the 3 teams that they're tied with right now. So Minnesota comes here in 2 weeks, and you've got again Northwestern, who you've already beat now, or maybe that's Rutgers. I think Rutgers is right there. Yeah, Rutgers is right there. So you own the head-to-head with Rutgers, and then Northwestern's a game up on them from the win-loss standing. So if you got even with them, you'd own that head-to-head as well. So I would say this about where their schedule is. They've got a much more maneuverable part of their schedule in front of them. And as Will talked about, anything can happen out there in Maryland because it is a launching pad out there. I mean, it's ridiculous how small that field is. And so, I mean, you might have to win some games in the teens, 15 to 12 ball games like that. But Maryland, for whatever reason, has really fought it this year too. And I think a lot of people are probably saying the same thing about Nebraska. 2 teams that are traditionally they're near the top of the Big Ten standings, Nebraska and Maryland, are there towards the bottom. So I think that both teams obviously still feel they have a lot of season where they can get the necessary wins to qualify for Omaha. But I just, the things that Nebraska, what they did on Saturday against Northwestern was impressive. Mm-hmm. When you have a doubleheader and you lose that game, especially the way they did on Friday, to be able to come out and sweep that way, I think that shows a lot about this team. Again, it's a veteran team for the most part. That was some good resiliency there.
Won the series, which you had talked about. At this point, winning the series, right?
Yes.
Moving forward, each weekend, just win the series.
Sweeps are hard. I don't care how good or bad the teams you're playing, but everyone's like, "Oh, you got to sweep this team. You got to sweep this team." Sweeps if you're the number one team in the conference playing the 17th team in the conference. Even to ask a team to sweep is pretty tough in baseball. So. Win series. If they can win series from here on out, they're going to like where they are. They're going to be smack dab in the middle of that conference, and I think they'll probably have somewhat of a favorable seeding in that pool play that will happen in Omaha.
Okay, well, the other big news of the day is we have more of a schedule that came out for the Husker games. And we talked a lot about this on Thursday when Coach Roll had his press conference and said we're going to have more of a red and white format, I guess, allow them to line up. But there's going to be 4 quarters. And so you got still going to intertwine some of those games and those competitions, which will be fun, but going to get a chance to see some football. And, I got to imagine, again, as we hit on Thursday, but just the opportunity to allow some of these players, because some of the news that's come out over the last couple weeks is that it sounds like they're going to stick with the 105 and it's not going to be grandfathered in. So here's a chance to have some of these players that have poured a lot of heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears into your program, give them a chance to have one more time out there in front of Husker Nation.
And it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. Between the quarters, you've got skills competition. Do we know what the media challenge is going to be?
I think it's catching a punt.
Okay, good. Do we know who's participated in that?
I think I heard a rumor. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Okay, that's fine.
But I think Sean Callahan, Kevin Suits.
Okay.
Maybe Sipple, I think.
Once upon a time athletes. Okay, that's good. No, that's fine. That'll be fun. I just like that they're doing these things in between the quarters. So it's some competition, but then you get a little bit of engagement, having some fun, but also a chance to see guys like Dylan Raiola, guys like Ja'Cory Barney, guys like Dane Key, competing in, not the 11-on-11, but competing in different type of skills competitions. So you get a chance to see what they're all about. This wing eating contest too, that was a new one. I wasn't familiar with that one, but and then I actually what I think is going to be awesome is going to be the speed race, the fastest player race, to see how that works out too. So there's definitely some unique football elements on top of the traditional game that you see. So if you're bummed that you're not going to see some of your more mainstay guys out there in the actual 11-on-11 football part of it, you're going to see these guys doing different types of skill competitions that I think will still be very entertaining. I think it's always been a day of fun in previous years anyway. This is going to be even, I think, more fun and more of a chance to really enjoy what these guys are all about.
Yeah, and so it's going to kick off with the specialist competition. So there's going to be a battle between the punters and I think it's like a closest to the target, and then field goal competition. So, and again, all these points are going to add up. Their teams are going to be split up, and so with each one, you get points. The strongest man competition is total a little bit of the elements there. I think that's going to be pretty fun. The quarterback shootout, different challenges for the quarterbacks. At halftime, there is John Cook roping roundup, and so that's going to be fun. There's going to be some robo ponies out there, I believe, a robo steer. So Coach Cook's confirmed. I don't know if people are practicing this, if we're going to see this go for the first time, but that's going to be pretty entertaining. And then we have the Husker hands competition with the wide receivers, tight ends. Then we have the media challenge, and then the fastest man. And how about the Wingstop wing eating contest? I'm told there's like 500 wings involved. Do you have an early favorite for the wing eating contest?
Ooh, I could see Rocco Spindler putting some down, but I mean, really insert any offensive lineman that I think would probably, but Spindler seems like he's a competitor and he's still trying to make his mark at Nebraska. So I could see him, if he's going to participate, I could see him taking some down.
I think there's coaches, former players, all going to be involved in that. And so it's, I mean, again, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see, and again, all these guys are very competitive, especially the ones that are the starters that are not going to be playing in the scrimmage portion of it. You know they're going to want to win when they're in their different skills or whatever they're participating in. They're going to get pretty competitive.
I just think that this is, again, and we've talked about this many times since it was announced, they're in their beta stage with this. They're going to see, it sounds like they're throwing a bunch of things out there. And you want to see what people like. And I guarantee you, Troy Dannon and the athletic department are really going to use a lot of the crowd's input and feedback on what they liked, what they can do away with. Coach Rule obviously will have a lot to say in that, of what worked, what seemed to be really enjoyable for the fans, because that's a big part of what that day is all about. I think there are things that sound appealing to you and I. Maybe to certain fans, it's not in their wheelhouse. But I think collectively, there are going to be things that come away from this Saturday that you can move forward with for years to come. And then there's other things you probably won't see. So enjoy them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. One of the things I think that's come up with this that's been talked a lot about is just this maybe being the end of the walk-on era.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is what it is, and I think that's kind of what Coach Rule has said. He's like, once it comes into effect, it's the last I'll be able to say about it. But I think most coaches that have expressed their displeasure with it, and I think, again, it's tough because of the tradition here with that, and just how many times you see just the special walk-on awarding the scholarship type of celebrations. And it just is, I think, now that we're there, for me, it's kind of been, it's, I think, a little bit tougher pill to swallow that we're moving towards that. But again, it's part of it. And I know that there was maybe some hope that it would be grandfathered in, that it wouldn't just come into a harsh effect. But I think the NCAA and some of the, powers that be wanted to move forward because, again, with the legislation, all that kind of, whatever, the mumbo jumbo of the legislation and the different kinds of rules, whatever. But it's kind of a sad time that we're moving. It's coming. It's here.
I think what's going to be fascinating between now and the start of next year is with all of the great coverage that this program gets between Omaha and Lincoln and Grand Island and Kearney and smaller towns even in between. Somebody, and we have so many talented writers and so many talented journalists in this state that cover this football team, somebody's going to do a history of the walk-on. And I know there's been versions of that already, but I think now more than ever it's going to be appropriate because for so many different changing elements of college football, this one, especially here, is the one that I think people are going to have the toughest time grappling with. I think a lot of the changes that we're seeing in college football are ones that you can see Nebraska having a path to be successful and having a seat at the table with. But I think, so for that, I think a lot of fans have been willing to roll with that, and fans have been willing to accept that, not necessarily having to like it, but accepting it and saying, well, that's just the changing times of college football. This one, I think, is going to take a little bit longer to get over. And you bring up a couple of examples of why. And I think in the summer, as we get into summer camp, into fall camp, where you get, like you pointed out, some of those cool videos of somebody going off of the walk-on into a scholarship. And when we saw Bullock calling his parents that one year, that's a real moment. And you could tell that emotion was raw for a guy that was from here, from Omaha Creighton Prep, and finally got the ability to have his school paid for, and what that meant for a local kid like that. You're not going to have those. And we remember when, and it wasn't just Nebraska, but Nebraska made a living of it more so than anyone else, of having those walk-ons develop into impact-type players, and in some occasions starters. And some of the great memories in Husker football when they were at their very best involved walk-ons. So all of that, yeah, in a way, it's kind of a funeral for that. I mean, you're paying your respects to that big tradition and element of Nebraska football, and that's the one to me that I think is still going to come with some reluctance from the fan base.
Well, and just even not just here, but across the country, the hometown kids that, hey, they choose to go to those programs whether they're going to play or not because they grew up a fan and I just want to be a part of this program.
Absolutely.
A lot of places might not have room for that anymore. Now, the 105, again, it doesn't go into effect until that first game week. But still, I mean, could you imagine going through all this and then that first game week, not making the roster? It just it's
you really have to bet on yourself.
It's we'll see how it continues to affect it. But it's I think one of the maybe not so great things about this changing that it is going to be hard to accept around here.
And is this another element that maybe we don't talk about enough? Maybe there'll be a time and a place to talk more about it, where with a lot of the changes in college football, and I still think there are a lot of challenges for FCS programs with these changes, but is there a case to be made now that you're going to see a lot more competitive play amongst the FCS schools because of a lot of those guys in different states that wanted to stick around and walk on at, say, in Alabama or in Nebraska or in Kansas or wherever it might be, and now all of a sudden they're limited with a roster that they're not going to make that decision anymore because that decision's already been made for them. So now they are looking at those FCS programs where they can be a star at. How that does with the parity in the FCS level, I'll be really interested to see in the next 5 years.
Okay, we got to get to a break, but before we do, got a couple people giving you a hard time about your math because you said 4 4-team pods.
Oh,
which would be 16.
Sorry, 3. Sorry.
So
yeah, never mind.
4 3-team pods,
yes,
right?
4 3. I did say 4 4. 4 3-team pods. Yeah, that's right. Math is hard. This is why I got into broadcasting.
Same. I feel you.
But I do always appreciate the correction police because sometimes we need to be checked.
Appreciate those people checking Nick on the Sports Nightly hotline. Which is brought to you by Woodhouse. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. More from Sports Nightly coming up after this.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing plus 2.9% financing plus $2,000 cash on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers. Driven by value.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new great trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Falls City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Command the road in your new vehicle from Woodhouse GMC. Lease the 2024 GMC Canyon Crew Cab Elevation 4x4 for $489 a month for 36 months and 10,000 miles per year. Visit us in-store and online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade. With approved credit, $3,700 down payment or trade credit plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number V241006. Offer expires 4/30/2025. See dealer for details.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid mineral with protein or Sweet Pro block supplements for space feeding, while also stretching your forages up to 25% better, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blauhorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing plus 2.9% financing plus $2,000 cash on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers. Driven by value.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or get us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Nick Hanley, Jessica Coody here in studio for you. Should mention, too, if you want to get those tickets to be a part of the Husker games. Huskers.com/tickets. And, you know, I feel like, too, it's Coach will probably wanted to make sure and get the excitement going, too, for a great crowd, because there are going to be some important recruits there as well.
And that's what I think we kind of forgot about this whole thing is how's the actual day itself going to look? I mean, this is still a big recruiting weekend. So, yeah, absolutely. You want the fans to show out. You want, even if it's not a traditional game type setting, even though now it's going to be a lot closer to that than we thought it would be 2 weeks ago, that you do have, I mean, it's always a huge recruiting weekend. And when recruits' jaws drop because they see that many people there to watch a spring scrimmage, it leaves a lasting impact. So if there can still be a good 50,000 people there to watch a combination of the game and all these skills competitions, that is also going to, I think, be even more impressive to these recruits of thinking, my gosh, they come out for this? This is amazing. I can only imagine what a fall Saturday afternoon is going to look like here. So absolutely, it's a big recruiting. And I think the leading up to, so it was last week when Matt Rule had made that announcement in the media availability that it was getting a lot closer to kickoff, that I think that does add and generate a little extra buzz. And as we all know, weather looks like it's going to be okay too, so that always helps as well.
Well, a guy that you hit the nail on the head there was sold by this atmosphere when he came here and played here a couple of years ago when he was at Georgia Southern is Marques Watson-Trent. Spent 5 seasons there at Georgia Southern. It's a 2024 Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Year. So he's a great addition, has been a great addition to the Black Shirts here this spring. I had a chance to chat with him the other day after practice. Great. Well, how's Lincoln treating you? How's spring football going?
Oh, it's been great. Meet the guys, get out there, compete with them through winter. Now spring, almost halfway through, or well, almost done now. So it's kind of went fast. You know, wish we can keep going, but it's been good. It's been great.
You were a guy who played a lot of football, have a lot of experience. When you went in the portal, what were you looking for your next step? I truly wanted to play for the Big Ten. Just knowing where that conference is going. They run the ball. I feel like it fits my scheme and my skill set. Love Coach Rule. His connections, his discipline, what he brings as a coach, kind of match what I wanted to be. So, and everything about Nebraska, the tradition. I played here in 2022. And just the atmosphere, man, it was great, man. So it was something I wanted to be a part of. Well, how do you like just how you're settling into this defense and just overall how the defense is progressing with Coach Butler? It's been smooth. Coach Butler does a great job. My coach Rob does a great job of communicating, getting everything in. It's been really smooth, man. 4-2-5, we do multiple stuff. I played it before, so kind of got a lot of reps at it, so it kind of was an easy transition for me. Being that you are a veteran, you've played a lot of football, but coming in and getting to know a new defense, new guys in the linebacker room, what was your approach to that? How did you get, acclimated with the guys around you? Yeah, I feel like you have to take it one day at a time. I feel like this team sport, it's the ultimate team sport, so you got to build relationships first. I can't come in thinking it's the same thing as last year. Really, people, nobody knows me, so start building relationships with the guy, being around him, spending time, communicating, watching film, different things like that, man. It's been really good. They brought me in with open arms, man. I'm loving it. Coach Butler the other day was talking about tackling well. You do that well. How do you like just this defense and how you guys have gone about that? I love it. Like you said, tackling, that's something I want to be. That's part of being, in the Big Ten. You got to tackle the ball to be a good defense. So, that's something I pride myself on. I work on tons. We do a great job here of, implementing that. I feel like that's a key point of decent defense. And we've been doing a really good job at it. What needs to happen for this team to close out on a high note? On a high note, just continue to work together, continue to build, trust of different things. That comes with rep. We got a lot of new guys in. We got a young quarterback who's doing a really good job, building his leadership and building his next level, taking his steps. I feel like keeping everybody together. I feel like the good teams are really together. At the end of the day, there's a lot of tough times that, go through highs and lows throughout the season. But being together through it and, really having fun, enjoying it is the biggest thing for us. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you. Just talking with him, you could tell he's an experienced guy, played a lot of football. I could have chatted with him a lot longer, but he had to get to class. But that's going to be fascinating, that linebacker rotation. I mean, you got a lot of young talent in that room. As we've talked about, you have Javen Wright, But here's a veteran, kind of experienced, proven guy at this level, or at least at the Division I level, that's played a lot of football that I think added some necessary experience into that room.
And from everything we've heard during spring, he's been all over the place. I mean, he has been impactful. I know Matt Rule has spoken about him a few different times on just that thing we hear about a lot of the newcomers of being able to embrace the culture here too, and how they participated in mat drills, but also their involvement in the community, getting right here, and just, again, those things that are very important to this team's culture. That's a position that we were just talking off the air too. That's a position that's going to be interesting, where I'm really fascinated about the conversations behind guys like that. And you also mentioned Buda Wright as well. Those guys that are going to be either starters or they're going to be heavily rotated in. The ones behind them, and what does that look like? Because Matt Rule talked about the conversations that he had last week with a lot of the players that, most likely you would be a 105 roster casualty. I think those are probably more obvious. I think it's the ones that you're going to see, especially in a position like that where you're trying to build depth, that I would be shocked if they feel like they know what that group, the depth, the 2s and 3s that they have to use, that they want to keep a part of that 105-man looks like. I think there's still probably some decisions that have to be made there.
I got to think, too, just with as much as Coach Rule has been a developmental guy and seeing potential and growing these guys, that maybe they see something in some of these guys that a lot of people don't. That's got to be the hard conversations in when you get to that point, like, man, he could maybe play, but you're sitting here just with your hands tied on some of those numbers of what you can carry.
Yeah, and that's, you wish that you would be able to essentially have certain guys, like in the NFL, where you have your practice team, you have your reserve, that you can promote to the 53-man roster if something comes up where, I get it, it's, you're essentially 2 53-man rosters carrying 105, but yeah, there's still going to be some guys that are right around 106, 107 that at some part of the season could probably help you, or could probably have at least some type of a role where, you didn't have to worry about that before. Now this is, I think it's changed a lot of these coaches' spring. I think, we're having this conversation with Matt Rule in Nebraska right now, but I think every team in college football right now are thinking the exact same thing think about some of those teams in the SEC that carry big numbers as well, and they're thinking, well, we recruited the heck out of this guy. Yeah, he hasn't developed as quickly as we'd like, but we still think there's something there, but we don't have room for him, and we were pretty active in the transfer portal too. So I think that this spring is probably, for a lot of coaching staffs in college football, has been very stressful.
Which position group do you feel like maybe you'll be interested? Because when Coach Rule's talking about some of these guys maybe fighting for a spot, playing time on the fringe there, which position group do you point to? I'm interested to see how they perform on Saturday.
I think it's got to be, I think from the number standpoint, defensive back is so interesting because there's so many numbers, and we'll see how that gets sifted through. But I still think, between what we've heard from running backs and wide receivers, to me, I'm still extremely fascinated to see, because if you can have a solid core wide receiving group that are doing all of those things that sometimes eluded this group collectively, from route running to just making simple catches, and you're hoping that all coincides with another major step forward for Dylan Raiola, how truly big that will be, not just for the offense, but for the entire team. So it's a combination of the running back room, what they have there, but I think probably if you had to just limit it down to one position group as far as the competition and getting that situated, I would have to say the wide receivers.
All right, let's get to a break. On the other side of this, we're going to hear from another one of those young defensive players in the defensive line room, Kona Davis, coming up next. Hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee, where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee, dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing plus 2.9% financing plus $2,000 cash on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers. Driven by value.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Falls City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, well, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Enjoy employee pricing at Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with the Freedom of Choice pricing program. Lease the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited for just $399 per month. Get started online or visit one of our 2 convenient locations in Blair or Bellevue today. 36 months, 5,000 miles per year for well-qualified returning lease customers with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. Must finance through Stellantis Financial Services. $1,999 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number C250379. Offer expires 4/30/2025. See dealer for details.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid mineral with protein or Sweet Pro block supplements for space feeding, while also stretching your forages up to 25% better, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blauhorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing plus 2.9% financing plus $2,000 cash on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers. Driven by value.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or give us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Just got a couple segments left here on Sports Nightly. Jessica Coody, Nick Hanley here with you on this Monday evening. Hey, so we talked about this last week. about me being on the committee for the Night at the Lead and some of those awards that are given out. The finalists have come out for the Male Rookie of the Year. So we've got Ja'Cory Barney, Christopher Minto, Dylan Raiola, and Dyson Wicker. Dyson is the pole vaulter, had a great freshman season for Husker track and field. I guess, who do you lean towards in that category?
Ooh. Ja'Cory and Dylan, are they still roommates, do we know?
I don't know. I don't know if they are.
They were, right?
I think
think
so.
That would cause a little bit of a rift right there if one of those guys gets it. But, I mean, if just between those two, I would say the amount of reps, game reps on the field and impact, you'd still lean towards Dylan. But Ja'Cory, tell me that offense isn't the same without Ja'Cory Barney and that element in there too. And he did some nice things. So,
yeah, with the responsibility of the quarterback, but there are games that they do not win without Ja'Cory.
Absolutely. I totally agree. That would be a tough one right there. And then you've got, would you say it was pole vaulter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dyson Wicker. Yep.
That, to me, is one of the toughest things in any sporting contest, is to be successful in the pole vault. So if you're doing that at a high clip, if you're doing that at a pretty successful clip right there, that would probably get my vote, just for the simple fact that I know very few people who can do that and do that at a high level, especially a freshman.
So he was second at the Big Ten Championships, was a second-team All-American, had the second highest, highest performing freshman pole vaulter last year. So had a great freshman season. But, again, Christopher Minto, that special run in the NCAA championships, contributing to the NCAA runner-up. I mean, he's definitely got to be part of that conversation too. It's a good problem to have when
you guys narrowed it down.
When you have these, kinds of debates for all these different categories, the more athletes that you have that could win it, the better. I
feel like you narrowed it down to four people that you're still going to have the same type of problem of trying to figure out who it's going to be.
Yeah. So, all right, let's hear from one of the young Husker football defensive lineman. Kona Davis had a pretty big role last year, and they'll look to him to carry an even bigger load going into his sophomore season. But his first spring with Husker football, here's that conversation. How has the first spring football been for you?
It's been great. I feel like I've improved in every aspect of my game. It's like IQ, pass rush, all that.
You were a guy that they've bragged on a lot, just your progress that you've been able to make. How has your game grown from when you stepped on campus last summer to where you are now?
I say it's taken a big jump to like putting extra hours in on the field and off the field, like studying and doing extra reps, working hands, and get off.
How has the defensive line room been without Nash and Ty? How are you guys adjusting to losing those guys?
We're adjusting just fine. We've got leaders who've stepped up. They keep pushing us just like them, maybe even more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How's Coach Braden been? What's he like playing for him?
He's very energetic, really energetic. When you come in tired early in the morning, he's just like a pillar of energy. You just feed off him, everybody feed off him, and our vibes go up.
What are some of the things that he is trying to instill in this defensive line, and what you guys want to do, and how you set the tone? What are some of those kind of principles that he's really harping on?
First thing is a rock-solid foundation. Work everything from the ground up. Have all of us together like a brotherhood. And then relentless effort. Always running to the ball, keep rushing the passer, stuff like that.
With some new guys that are stepping up in bigger roles, yourself included, how has the chemistry, just the guys that you're playing alongside, how has that developed here throughout spring football?
Oh, it's been great, actually. We all gotten closer to where, like, actual brothers. Like, I could count on any of them. I could trust any of them. Even if I need to talk, I could go to any of them.
How about the defense with Coach Butler? What do you like about the potential with what he's establishing with the Black Shirts?
He's very aggressive, very aggressive. And he lets his pass rush, too. That's what I like about him.
Just with the overall defense and with some new guys playing both linebacker and up front, and then the guys in the back end, how have you guys continued to gel throughout spring football? Playing together.
I feel like we've gone good. When we go to team, we always hyping each other up. Always, like we make a mistake, we always hold each other up. We don't put each other down. It's always positive.
just playing up against the offensive line, I've asked the offensive lineman about you guys and vice versa. How has that battle been, and how much are you guys sharpening iron?
Every day. Iron sharpens every day. There's always getting chippy. We always get very competitive, but that's the great thing about it. We always compete, so we never get worse. We always going up.
How have the expectations and just the confidence of this football team changed? It seems like talking to guys throughout spring football that coming off the bowl win, it just, the expectations have been raised for this group. You guys are expecting more this spring. How does it feel different, I guess?
We do have different, since that bowl game win, like we were happy with it, but we weren't satisfied with it. So we just came more together, and we hold everybody to a higher standard than before. If we see somebody slacking, we just bring them up, and yeah.
What were some of your goals that you wanted to accomplish here in your first spring, being that you were able to kind of build last fall and going into when they are expecting more from you this spring? What were some of the things you wanted to be able to do?
Have a bigger impact. That's a big one. Be a leader, lead by example. Those are my main goals, really.
How ready do you feel for a bigger role?
I feel very ready, actually. Coach Braden and my teammates like Cam, Riley, and Judy, they've been very good examples of how I should be, and they always help me out with everything, yeah.
Not a typical spring game, but how excited are you to be back out in front of Husker Nation next Saturday?
I'm very excited. I miss the crowd. Their energy is amazing, yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you.
I think we're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more of Kona Davis. His name has come up a lot here over the last, even dating back to last fall. You said it when you saw him. You said he looks huge.
He does.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that Corey Campbell and his staff did work with him.
Yeah, just the arms alone right there you could see, but I mean everything that you want to see from a defensive lineman too, with strong chest, the arms, it looks like he's got the power. But when you heard even Tony White a year ago talk about his development, even just right out of the gate, Terrence Knighton talking about him, and this is a group now with a new defensive staff that I think there's so much more to work with when it comes to him. And now he's going to have that opportunity to get those reps as well. And seeing one of those guys, one of those younger guys like Riley Van Poppel and Cam and all those guys being able to step up, he's going to be a name I think that's going to be highly impactful.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We're back to wrap up the show next.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Your next vehicle is waiting for you at Woodhouse. With over 20 locations and a variety of brands, Woodhouse offers everything from reliable trucks to family-friendly SUVs. Whether you're looking for a Nissan, Mazda, or Infiniti, our team is here to help you find the perfect fit. Enjoy a seamless car buying experience with our expert staff and exceptional service. Visit Woodhouse today, where quality, selection, and customer satisfaction come first. Or get started online at woodhouse.com.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Hey Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Final few minutes left here of Sports Nightly on this Monday evening. I did want to make sure and get to this, but how about, did you see Steph Curry last night in their win over Houston? Dropping 31 points wearing the Keisei Tominaga shoe.
You know that everybody always called Keisei or Steph. No, wait, they called Keisei, you know, baby Steph and everything. Yeah. And then he was starting to give the shout outs a little bit too. So, yeah, you know, I mean, the game is pretty much the exact same thing.
Steph signed Keisei to the shoe deal last summer, and Keisei always talked about how much of a idol, how much he looked up to Steph. But it's cool that Steph rocked his shoes last night.
Steph Curry's, do you ever listen to, if you ever get a chance to, it's the Smart List podcast. It's with Jason Bateman. It's got Will Arnett, and I'm trying to remember the other guy. But they did one of Steph Curry. Steph Curry is a very interesting person. He's like, I've always been kind of on the fence about him just because I'm not a Warriors fan. I respect his game and everything, but I didn't know what kind of a dude he was. Unbelievable guy.
Yeah.
Like I walked away from that hour-long episode listening to him just talk, you know, other than just basketball. And, oh, man, great dude. So I'm not surprised by that good gesture there.
I like Steph. Okay, so just got about a minute left. You guys talked a little bit about this in the first hour, but another big opportunity for Husker baseball tomorrow, Kansas at home. What do the Huskers need to do to keep it rolling?
I think for them, like Will said, they typically respond well to a challenge. And after Friday night's loss to Northwestern, they were challenged, and they responded in kind with 2 wins on Saturday when they had to have those, and they did that. And I think Nebraska felt a little bit slighted going into Lawrence, where a lot of people were thinking, oh, boy, this could get ugly given the way Kansas was swinging the bats, and they were just red hot. And you know, Nebraska had been so hit or miss up to that point, and I think they felt like they were being somewhat mistreated or a little bit undervalued, and they went out and played some really good baseball. So I feel like they've got a little bit of that fire, knowing it's another great RPI opportunity as well. And I think just like the last couple of weeks in the midweeks with Kansas and Creighton, the last 2 weeks, set you up for a good weekend as well. And they got a big opportunity this weekend against Maryland. So you got to set that tone tomorrow.
Where currently are the Huskers in the RPI? What could this do for it?
They're currently 75, and a win tomorrow, you start knocking on that door of inside 65 to possibly getting close to the 50s. So that's a huge opportunity. I mean, you look at teams that have made the NCAA tournament, they're usually right around that 50 mark, 48, sometimes 52, 53. So got to get above 500. But.
All right. Well, again, first pitch, 6 o'clock. So pregame show starting at 5:30 right here on the Huskers Radio Network. We'll be back again on Wednesday and Thursday for full 2-hour shows. Talk lots of football. We got a couple more availabilities coming up over this week. So we'll have some interviews there leading up to the Husker games. Thanks for listening. Have a great night, Husker Nation.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Life doesn't come with guarantees, but working with Rob Seco comes pretty close. Our strategic investments in the seed we offer are designed to directly improve your bottom line. From full trait platforms, breeding and development, to field-by-field planning and seed-driven crop inputs, with Rob Seco, you have precisely what you need to improve plant performance and increase yield. Every farm, every crop, and every acre. Learn more at robseco.com.
This season, give your soybeans the upgraded protection they deserve. With CVA Elite Fungicide Insecticide Seed Treatment plus Saltro, you'll get stronger above and below ground vigor and enhanced SDS protection, helping you maximize ROI. Talk to your Central Valley Ag Field Sales Agronomist or visit CVACoop.com today. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Falls City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my